We're less than 2 weeks away from the NFL draft, and teams are finally deciding who they really want to spend their very, very valuable first round picks on. There are teams out there that are kind of still looking for a quarterback right now, and there are three in particular that could fall in the first round, but their value kind of has a giant question mark above their head. So we're not really too sure where to put them. Today, we're going to be taking a look at one of those three quarterbacks, taking a look at his entire college career, his individual, and his overall skills as a quarterback. Today, we are going to be looking at Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders. So, what is Shedeur Sanders' true value as a quarterback in the NFL? Well, let's start with the most basic thing, which is arm talent. In my opinion, he's very, very impressive whenever it comes to ball speed and arm strength, especially for his size. He holds onto the ball in the pocket and efficiently works with the ball downfield and finds the open man. I mean, he's always looking down the field. It doesn't look like he's looking for the check down or the easy option to scramble out. He's always looking to go and bomb the thing down the field. The biggest thing I can say about his arm talent is probably his touch passes can use a little bit of work, but the medium bullet pass is the main strength of his arm. I mean, every time that I've seen him throw that ball, it's been incredibly accurate, right into the chest of the receiver, and I can really have no complaints about it. For his arm talent, I have to give him a 9 out of 10. Now, something unique about Sanders is his mobility because he doesn't use it like a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, for example, where he's just going to be running all around the field. No, so he actually typically likes to stay in the pocket as long as possible, and he has great escapability. He has a really, really good ability to read the blitz, surprisingly. And not only is he not an easy quarterback to bring down, despite his size, which, again, 6'1", 212, and not being able to bring him down easy is kind of a shock to me, but he also knows when to pull the ball down and scramble. So whenever he is scrambling, whenever somebody is holding on to him, he has no problem with shaking out of that. It's really incredible to watch, honestly. Now, the one problem that I do have whenever he is scrambling is he doesn't always set his feet. So if he doesn't set his feet with these passes, it could lead to some very dangerous results in the NFL, especially if he's on the run and then he gets hit before even setting his feet. That's going to be a duck in the air and possibly a really, really bad interception. So that is the one thing that I do have concern about. But he also doesn't really know when to slide, and he kind of gets a little bit too greedy whenever he does decide to go beyond the line of scrimmage. That's another concern I have just because, I mean, I always think about RG3 and everything like that whenever it comes to quarterbacks scrambling too much and not being able to go down in time. So that is one of the things I'm worried about with the mobility. But other than that, he's perfect on the red zone RPO. He has a really, really good way of reading the defense and figuring out how to get right into the end zone. And overall, I'd say his mobility is probably a 7 out of 10. If he could just figure out like when to go down, then that would be perfect. And especially if he can just set his feet with all of his passes. Obviously, that's not going to be every pass. Situations are different and everything like that. But overall, his mobility, I feel like 7 out of 10 is a pretty fair grade for him. Now, let's move on to the thing that I'm not a very big fan of, which is the size and the frame. Again, like I said from before, 6'1", 212 pounds. That's a pretty tough pill to swallow for a quarterback, especially one that's going into the NFL. Now, I am slightly worried about his durability, but not really. I mean, the only reason why I'm really, really worried is because whenever you're getting to the NFL, I mean, whenever you have like a giant edge or D lineman coming and just smashing you like untouched, because that's going to happen at least once in his career, it's going to hurt. Again, God forbid anything happened to him. We always hope that everyone has the most healthy career possible, but it is a really big concern to have, especially if he's going to be a year one starter. So overall, I'm going to have to give the durability or the size and the frame a 6 out of 10. Now, whenever it comes to accuracy, the deep ball is my biggest concern with this kid. It's like an enormous concern, actually. I don't believe that his deep ball is going to make it into the NFL unless he improves on this accuracy. It's a little bit too much of a duck. He relies on the receiver a little bit too much to make a play. In my opinion, NFL corners are going to be picking off the deep ball pretty easily. He struggles to hit receivers in stride on passes of 20-plus yards, which can be a huge problem, and occasionally puts the ball on the wrong side, which requires the receiver to make a play. Now, whenever you have a receiver like Travis Hunter, that's no problem at all. But if you have a bunch of number 2 wide receivers on a team, then that's going to be a little bit hard to go and get those catches and to kind of make those big plays. So might lead to a lot of 3-and-outs or broken drives. But other than the deep ball and like kind of misplacing the ball sometimes, like whenever it comes to the wrong shoulder, the short and the medium pass are the strong suit, but like without a doubt. I mean, he's very consistent in the ball placement on short and medium passes. And in my opinion, if he just fixes the deep ball accuracy, he can be such a threat in the NFL. But it's just, you got to get a little bit more distance on that ball or else it's never going to make it. But I can't really hurt him too much just for the deep ball. So I'm going to go 7.5 out of 10 for Shedeur's accuracy rating. Now, this is one of my favorite parts of his game, honestly, which is his decision making. He's a very, very quick thinker, but he's also a very big risk reward quarterback. He's not afraid to air it out in the double or triple coverage, which is kind of a concern. But again, if you have a star wide receiver where you know you can do that, that's okay. But if you don't really have that chemistry with somebody, and again, playing against NFL DBs, you really, really got to be careful with that. So that's one of the concerns I have with his decision making. But decisions on when to stay and leave the pocket are quite nearly flawless. He doesn't force himself to run and he wants to pass the football. It is very, very clear that he wants to throw the football, which I absolutely love about this kid. He looks down the field, resulting in occasional big plays, but occasionally tries to force it. So, like I said before, with that double and triple coverage, that can be a really, really big problem in the NFL because college kids, I mean, it might be easy. They're just trying to like catch up to the receiver or whatever, but a good NFL DB is going to turn his head around and figure out where that ball is. And if the receiver needs to make a play on the ball, it might be a little bit too late. It might be a little bit too late if the DB already notices. So, again, a little bit of a concern, not too big of a concern. He's typically very, very intelligent whenever it comes to zone defense setups. He knows how to read them perfectly. This oftentimes leads to a lot of wide open passes into the flat, and he can find the soft spots pretty easily. And that's extremely impressive, especially whenever it comes to the NFL, because obviously everyone knows you cannot stick to the same passing game. You can't just go deep all game. You can't go medium all game. You got to be able to find the soft spots in the defense in zone and man, but in particular, zone, he is fantastic at reading the defense and finding the soft spots. Overall, I got to give him an 8.5 out of 10 whenever it comes to the decision making. And again, I feel like this might be his strongest attribute next to his arm talent. And then obviously the football IQ, we have to mention that. That's also another ranking. That's also another rating that I have very, very high for Shedeur. He's a very intelligent individual whenever it comes to reading the blitz and defense, as you can see right here. The RPO decision making is fantastic in the red zone, but it's kind of average in the open field, to be completely honest. Like, if I'm going to use an RPO with Sanders, it's definitely going to be probably within the red zone. I don't really know if I'd feel too comfortable doing it just like on the 40-yard, on my own 40-yard line. But he knows his receivers well, and he knows exactly where they're going to be, and he's really, really good at building chemistry with them, which is huge for a quarterback. But I'm very concerned that he's not open to hearing constructive criticism. That is the probably biggest complaint I have about him, which we're going to get to in a moment. But I'm not too sure how he's going to do with NFL coaching, constructive criticism. I'm not sure how he's going to react to it. That's the only reason why I'm not giving him a complete 10 out of 10 for this. I'm giving him a 9 out of 10 for his football IQ. Now we're going to get to the worst part of his game, which is unfortunate for me to say, but it's his character. It is without a doubt the worst part of this player. He's extremely pretentious, very outlandish, and he's so cocky, like extremely cocky, very nonchalant and disrespectful towards others. It's very, very concerning how he will use this trait. Um, so far in the offseason, I've seen him use this trait to boost himself and everything like that, and talk about like how amazing he is and everything, which is, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to recognize whenever you're good, but whenever you're talking about it to a point that he's talking about it, it's a little bit extreme. It's a little bit prima donna type. And that can become a locker room issue, and especially in the NFL. I definitely can see him being a leader, but he has to put his energy towards the team and not towards his personal achievement and recognition. I mean, if he could just focus all of that energy towards winning a Super Bowl and improving the people around him, I truly think that he's going to be a franchise quarterback. But if not, I can quickly see him being a career backup, if not just out of the NFL completely. And so for that character rating, that is going to hit him a lot with a 4 out of 10. So what are my overall thoughts on Shedeur Sanders? I think Shedeur Sanders is a quarterback with a ton of upside in the NFL, but there's a lot of things holding him back, mainly the character and mainly the deep ball. As long as he can go and listen to coaches on how to improve that deep ball, get some more spacing between the receiver and the defender, I think that he's going to be okay. But again, he has to be open to that constructive criticism. But if he's not, then I can really see him struggling. Another way I can see him struggling is, again, with that character. If he's talking about himself as being just best of the best and everything, my team sucks, like my team needs to do better, that's not going to work out. That's not good for team chemistry. That's not how you win playoff games. It's not how you win a Super Bowl. So I am a little bit concerned about that, but I don't really think that it's going to be enough to go and tank his draft stock, if I'm being completely honest. So my overall rating for Shedeur Sanders is going to be a 7.3 out of 10, and I think that he is going to end up going in the first round. I think it's going to be a little bit later in the first round. I don't see him getting taken in the top 10. Kind of see a team like the Saints taking him. I mean, especially with the Derek Carr shoulder injury that just came out, like that could be very big. We still don't know where Aaron Rodgers is going to go. So, again, that's a big question mark. But so far, I mean, the offseason for him has been a giant nothing burger. So, we have no idea. Overall, though, I feel like Shedeur Sanders is probably going to be a top 15 to top 20 pick in the NFL draft. And yeah, overall, that's 7.3 out of 10. I mean, for just coming out of college and especially with that damage that he had with his character with that 4 out of 10, I would say 7.3 is a pretty good grade for him. I'm excited to see what he can do in the NFL. I don't want to prey on his downfall or anything like that. Like, I'm really excited to see what he can do, but I just pray and pray and pray that this dude can get his act together. If he can get his act together, he's going to be a real talent. But with that being said, that is the end of our film review episode on Shedeur Sanders. Next, you guys should be looking out for the Jackson Dart and Cam Ward episodes. I'm going to be breaking down both of those before the NFL draft, figuring out where I think that they're going to land, and also, again, just breaking down all of their skills and everything like that, and seeing what the best attributes of these players are. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe to go and keep up, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks.